Ashlingthello nodded. Yes, I suppose I'm a baby compared to you, but a decently knowledgeable baby at least. And a druid? I could see it. It's very fitting for you. Her eyes crinkled up in amusement but quickly turned serious once the lair was mentioned. Ash's gaze followed Shadrill's pointed hand. Well, I suppose it's time then, Ash said nervously, suddenly growing very self-conscious. Anxiety flitted under her skin, but there was no other way. With a huff, she changed, shifting into a form that only made an appearance when absolutely necessary. Shadro Mossthorn looked at her with some interest. I was wondering if you were going to change or not. He motioned her towards the lair. He began walking towards the area before he suddenly stopped. The boar appeared for a moment. It really was massive in comparison to other normal boars. The boar dashed into the hedges and burrowed itself in the massive vegetation. The loud breathing from its nose could be heard as it waited to attack the two. Ashlingthello readied herself. Well, they certainly weren't kidding about the size, she muttered. But the pair of us shouldn't have too much of an issue. You ready, Shad? Shadro Mossthorn nodded his head as he began forming a spell. It took a few moments before fellfire burst from inside the lair. 2 more minor explosions rung out before the boar was standing out in the open. Ready as I'll ever be, I suppose. The charging boar rushed past the two, slashing its massive tusks, but missed both attacks. Ashlingthello let out a snarl, trying to slice the boar's shoulder as it darted past. The beast was faster than it looked and she miscalculated, still driving into the soft ground instead. She quickly yanked her weapon out of the ground. Shadro Mossthorn jumped to his right. He rolled for a moment before he sprung back to his feet in a ready position. He motioned for the two to press the attack. Ashlingthello was prepared this time. As the boar circled and charged towards them once again, she swung up. Her axe cut across the boar's chest. It squealed wildly as it darted past, a bloody trail following it. Shadro Mossthorn dashed forward at a speed unknown to most creatures. He slid across the grass as he threw one of his glaives. The glaive wounded the boar, but got stuck in a nearby tree after it landed. Shadro Mossthorn quickly grabbed his lost glaive before he rushed in for another attack. This time, it was more of a slash and run as he danced by the boar and cut it, before retreating again. Ashlingthello capitalized on Shad's attack. As the boar lost its balance, she rushed forward, driving her axe straight into its head. She was surprised the attack didn't kill the boar, but it was a strong beast. Ash started back as the animal shook its head in confusion. They were close. Shadro Mossthorn gave a final throw of his glaive and watched as the weapon sunk deep into the boar's side. He watched it for a long moment to see how it would react. Ashlingthello waited, axes ready just in case the animal did not die, but it seemed unable to get up, though it tried. Finally, its movement stilled. A handful of final wheezes escaped out of its mouth. I think we did it, Ash rumbled. She flinched slightly, hating how gravelly her voice sounded in this form. The massive boar seemed to gain composure for a moment, before its legs finally gave out. The creature fell over on its side, dead. Shadro Mossthorn watched the massive creature for a moment before nodding. It would appear so. Good work. He went over and retrieved his weapon from the creature before cleaning it. I'll let you get the tusks with your axes. Ashlingthello sighed. Well, that was pretty exciting, though I do feel bad for the boar. She added that last bit a bit more softly. Ash strode forward, raising her axe and chopping off a tusk with one solid swing. She repeated the act for the second one before quickly cleaning her weapons and returning them to her back. I'm sorry, she murmured to the boar quietly, but it had to be done. Ash turned toward Shadril. Are you ready? Or do you want to try and take some of the meat? Shadro Mossthorn shook his head. I don't need it. Plus, I figured we'd just let the town have it. Goodwill goes a long way sometimes. He motioned her back towards the town. Ashlingthello glanced at the sky once more. I'm glad we were able to complete that before the storm hit. I wonder how much extra gold they'll give us, she mused, quickly changing forms before entering the town. Ashlingthello grinned, handing over the tusks. Well, we're back. The boar is just over the hill. A lot of good bacon on that guy. Winifred Earlywind says, I can see that. Good of you two. Here's your pay, along with some extra for the tusks. I assume you don't want the meat since you didn't bring it back? We'll take care of it. She nodded in thanks before working again. Ashlingthello turned toward Shadril. Shall we grab a pint to celebrate on our way back? I think we deserve it. She bounced the bag of gold in her hand once, enjoying the sound of the coins jingling inside. Shadril Mossthorn smiled and nodded his head. Sure. Why not? He began walking towards the local tavern. The sounds of the coins could be heard as they came in contact in the bag. The two headed off for a light drink before returning home.